your second wife. I see you guys as partners, like on all kinds of levels. This is like how I pick up the energy. And that's the power. That's the power of finding the right collaboration to really be the change and shift first with your own soul and then actualizing that together, because together we're that much stronger and our message is even more powerful. So I want to just introduce you both in a way that I honor you, and we really feel excited about this beautiful creation of Rise Up experience. And I'm going to start actually with Ashley. Welcome to Rise of the Goddess Collective. I am your host, Michelle Julian, your goddess guide. You're being, you're becoming the version that you already are. And I have two guests here to talk about their journey as goddesses individually and then collectively creating a magical box of services that have now expanded all over the United States and everywhere else, I'm sure. And basically they have now created this amazing event, and I can't wait for them to share. So we are going to start with Ashley. Ashley, how are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
Awesome. You both are so shiny and vibrant, and the message
The ring light.
The message today is we are messy, but that's the essence of our beauty, right? We're not trying to show up, as Ashley always talks about, and Loryn too. We are not supposed to show up perfect. We are not perfect beings, because if we try to be that way, what happens is we just end up falling on our face and looking ridiculous, right? So Ashley, tell us about how you decided to take the abundance box movement. It's like amazing. I have the boxes like in my closet. I still have like the recent one from the last membership that I was in, and hoping I'm still in the same membership. I didn't do anything in the back end. So tell us about how you took the abundance movement and now you've got this event, the Rise Up. And are they Rise Up experience boxes? What are they called?
Yeah, now they are called the Rise Up Experience box. So, I mean, we evolved because we're evolving as humans. And I feel like we each go through different stages in our life. And I think so many people are afraid of change. They're afraid of the growth, and they feel like from the outside looking in, I see a lot of entrepreneurs. I'm like surrounded by a ton of women entrepreneurs who are so amazing and incredible. And what I started to notice was that there was so many attachments to their brand or their business name or their mission or their vision. And they felt like they were burnt out or overwhelmed or overworked because maybe they didn't align to that mission anymore. And like abundance movement boxes for me was a way to help me work through domestic violence, like my own recovery and healing with domestic violence. It was learning what abundance and freedom meant to me. But as I started to grow and evolve and become more passionate about not just so much the domestic violence, but also really teaching women how to come full circle in their healing, it just made sense for me to adapt and like lean into that fear of change. And I was also super overwhelmed and burnt out, and I couldn't do it by myself anymore. And Loryn and I have been in business together since January of 2019, running, coaching groups, doing courses. So I've worked alongside with her for so many different things. And she's my work wife / sister / just like everything. The person, like I don't know if you guys know anything about human design, but I'm a projector and she's a manifesting generator, and we just work well together. And
opposites attract.
Yeah.
we're so alike, but we're so different. Yeah. And that's the beauty of it, especially when you have like business partners. If you have two people that think the exact same way, you're not going to grow and scale like you want to. It is so beautiful to have two different perspectives, and we do things differently, but they mesh and they work. And so that's why we've been able to be so successful in such a short amount of time.
Yeah. And like for us, obviously it feels forever sometimes.
Yeah.
Like, gosh.
Yes. But time is like that. And especially since the pandemic, I feel like even with, the spring forward, the clocks turned, an hour ahead. It literally took me like a week and a half to feel like, oh, it's really 11 o'clock when it's supposed to be. Like, it feels like I kept doing that thing where you're like, no, it's not, it's really 10 o'clock. You know what I mean? And so it's like your whole body needs to have that reset for your own ability to be like, oh, we are an hour ahead. So that means it's going to be a little time before my brain and my body get connected, and allowing that space to happen, that change to happen, and not kind of beating yourself up, because you both are mothers. So you're full-time mothers and full-time business owners. So creating that awareness of like, what's important, what is discerning, I'm sure is like super, super important for you. So Loryn, tell me like how you actually take the energy that you have, because I see you online, I see you online, and I feel the essence of your mission and your passion, and how you stay in that energy and not get depleted and feel like, oh, I just can't do this thing. I can't do this online thing and my family at the same time. I'm quitting.
Oh, well, I'd be lying if I said I've never had those thoughts before. I mean, we're human. We all feel the burnout every now and then. For me, my son is like my biggest motivation. And I want to do everything I can. When I wake up in the morning, I just remember my why. Why am I doing what I'm doing? And then I think of him and the legacy that I want to create. And I want him to look at me and think, my mom did everything that she could to give me the best life possible. And so I wake up and I practice gratitude every single morning. And I'm like, today's going to be a good ass freaking day. Can I swear?
Yes.
Okay. It's going to be.
Yes. I want you to be your authentic self, and swearing is included, even though you're spiritual and you're devoted to God, you can actually swear.
That's like something like when I describe myself, I'm like, I'm a swear word loving, multi-passionate entrepreneur. It is really easy to just want to throw in the towel and quit, because I am not only a mom and a business owner, but I also work too. And I have like a job outside of all of this. And there are nights, my son is in a sleep regression right now. There are nights and there are days where I'm just exhausted, where it would be so much easier to just quit. And then I think of all the times where I was wishing that I was where I am now. And I wouldn't be where I am now if I would have quit. And so I just remember where I came from, where I am now. And that really allows me to just keep the energy and to keep the motivation high, because I don't want to be where I was 5 years ago. I'm excited for where I'm going 5 years from now. And so, I mean, it's hard, but you just got to keep going. And life is a lot easier when you're positive and when you have a smile on your face.
I totally agree with that. And I love the fact that you really start your day, your morning, with an intention of why you are actually here on this planet Earth. it's not just for the business, but it's for your family, it's for your son, it's for a legacy. So first pillar in all of the Goddess Collective is gratitude. Starting with gratitude, helps us trust our inner goddess that we know that's here at this higher self, right? Because like, if we don't call on the higher self in our day-to-day life, then what is driving us? It's our ego, right? And then what happens is the ego kicks in the fear. And Ashley, you talk about this a lot in your journey of what you've become, a mother, an entrepreneur, and a person that's advocating for other women to not be afraid to listen to that inner goddess, the inner awareness that's there, that's dormant, but been programmed to not feel, to bypass feelings. I would love for you to kind of talk about your own awareness of how that's showed up for you in your life. Now you're in this rise up. You were in abundance, you got abundantly abundant, and now you're rising up. So talk about the rise up, gratitude, self-worth journey.
Okay, so this is like, the way I can best summarize this really is, you take a look at how society shapes women to be, right? And societally, we're told and programmed that, you become a mom and you just become a mom. Or if, like, even women out there, and like everyday women, it's always the thing of, when are you going to get married? When are you going to settle down? When are you going to do this? When are you going to, don't you think you've like gone to school enough? Don't you think that you've done too much? Like, isn't it time to relax? And we're almost like ashamed for doing the things that we love, that a lot of people suppress, like all these like feelings of anger or resentment. And throughout our entire childhood and into our teenage years, adolescence, and into adulthood, we kind of suppress a lot of the feelings that make us women and make us who we are at our core, because we like tune out our intuition. We tune out all the things that make us feel good, because we're trying to do other things to make other people happy. And so one of the biggest things that I do talk a lot about is, through my own healing journey, and this ties into self-care, is I've started diving into different healing modalities, like emotional coding or energy healing, or like spirituality, gratitude, the same thing, because it gets me to better tune into my intuition and learn how to apply that into my business, into my life as a mom, into my life as an entrepreneur, into my life as a friend, and it just makes me, like, for the first time in my life, I feel happy. And it's not like a fake happy, not like oh, I love my life, everything is perfect, because there's a lot of shit that is going on. Like, I'm in the middle of a huge court case. I'm in the middle of like all these eyes looking at me all the time, but none of it matters, because I'm doing what I love, right? And so if I can show women not just how to do it, but be living proof that anybody can do it, I think that's what's going to get women to break the mold of who they think they are and who they actually are.
I love that. And it's so funny because, when I started thinking about being and becoming a goddess and creating my beautiful goddess deck, which you have, and I'm not sure if Loryn has a deck. We need to get you a deck too. And when I started creating this, I wanted to include self-care, because that's what my whole life has been as I can relate to you, single parent. I was a single parent back in the day when it actually was almost like not too many people were single parents, like in 1980s, that 1983, 84. it wasn't popular, not that it's popular now, but it was very like, people would look at me and they'd be like, you're divorced, like they scorned me. So I had to deal with all of those emotions, feeling like someone that's sticking out, and how was I going to stand in my power? And so when I kind of created this whole being and becoming, I had to go back right into our shadow, into our feelings of not feeling enough, or feeling like I was being a good mother, even because I decided to leave my husband that, I just didn't feel like really loved me and cared about me. So basically, when I talk about all of these things, I always want to include the mindset, right? The mindset habit. And that's why I love and resonated with your abundance box, because each time I get a box, the focus was, let's start with gratitude. Second, let's talk about your mindset. So you always have something in there about gratitude, mindset. And I was like, oh my God, she created the being to becoming boxes. I don't even need to create them. I'll just buy these and share these with my audience. And so it's kind of funny in a way, because I'm in my 60s and you're not even 30 yet, right? You're like 25, 26.
I'm 26.
Yeah, I'm 30.
Oh my God, no way. Okay, I thought you hadn't reached 30 yet. So yeah, but I think about like when I was in my 20s and my 30s, I would have never had the confidence that you both have, but that's because back in the day, we weren't programmed to build ourselves up as women. And I want you, whoever wants to talk about this, I'm not going to pick who wants to talk about it. You can say, oh, it's your turn. You can talk about this. I want you to kind of share with our audience, like your own journey of like how you actually build yourself the confidence to actually step into this amazing message of being the change, taking care of our mental health, our physical health, as well as our mental health. It's so, so important.
Mm-hmm.
I can share first. You can share it. I'll share.
I was telepathically telling you to go.
This is something that I talk a lot about, is shifting societal norms. It is societally normal to go to high school. After high school, when you graduate, you go to college, and then you get your degree and you work your degree until you retire. And that's just the societal norm. I knew from a very, very, very young age that was just not how I wanted to live my life. However, because my mom is very traditional, my dad is really traditional, they said, Loryn, go to college after high school, do a degree, you would be so good at this. I didn't even know what I wanted to go to college for. I didn't even really want to go to college. I knew that there was something bigger and better for me out there. I just didn't know what it was yet, but I didn't want to go to college. So they're like, Loryn, you would be really good in physical therapy. I was like, okay, well, my parents know me better than anyone, so I guess. So I went to college to get my associate degree as a physical therapist assistant. And I did that for, I'm only 26, 3 years. And I was like, this is not for me. And so a lot of the things that I talk about is, it is okay to live your life how you want to. This is your life. This is not your mom's life. This is not your dad's life. It was okay. They did the things that they did because that was normal for them then. And maybe they felt like they didn't have a choice because they would have been judged or they would have been reprimanded. But what's so beautiful about the world that we live in right now is like, you have the choice and you can make choices at any age. I know that there are so many people that are older, like, I don't know, I don't want to classify
50s and 60s,
older
generation.
Yeah. The older generation that's wishing that they would have done what they're doing now at a younger age. Mm-hmm. And that's what I really wanted to like talk to people about too, is there is no time too soon. There's no time too late to go after your dream. But like, if you have a passion for doing something, and if you want to make change, because we only have one life to live. And I would hate to die and not do what I was meant to do on this earth. I would hate to die and not have reached or went after my dreams. Ever since I was little, I knew I was made for something bigger and better. And so when I decided to not do my career anymore, it was probably 2019 when I met Ashley and we started doing all this stuff online. I'm like, this is what I want to do. I do not care how old I am. If anything, I'm going to be a motivation and a change for people my age to get out of that societal norm too. So I guess my advice is just like, if you want to, do it, because literally we only have one life right now. This is the life that we are living right now. Live it how you want to, not how anybody else wants you to.
Take a deep breath. Take that in, audience. Hear the passion. Hear the patience of Loryn's own practice. Her practice is being patient. Right?
Yeah.
You're patient with yourself. You're patient with your children. And then giving yourself permission to find something that lights you up, that makes you feel joyful in your heart.
Absolutely. And, it might take 1 year, it might take 5 years, it might take 10 years to get to ultimately where you want to be. But when I think about, like, I got started when I was 23. If it takes me 10 years to get to where I want to be, I'm still only 33 years old. Like, that's amazing. Even if it takes me 20 years and I'm 43, patience is definitely key, because if you don't have the patience, that's when burnout happens, and that's when you quit. Don't quit on yourself. If you want something, go after it. Especially if you know deep down, like, trust your intuition, man. Let that Karen mind, she can talk, she can protect you, she can be there. That's what she wants to do. She wants to protect you from repeating old patterns. But like, if something in your intuition and in your gut is saying, no, I want to do this, trust that and go after it, because you're going to be so much happier. And when you are happier, your family is happier, your friends are happier, your life is happier. It's just all full.
It's all about integrity. Integrity begins with finding the inner goddess, right? The heart, the soul, calling on that which is within us, right? So that's also the peace within yourself. And so that's why I'm thinking, oh my God, I'm having a huge download. I think this could be something that you could include into your event that you're hosting, this experience, which I can't wait to talk about next, because it's so juicy. And I keep hearing my angel say, Michelle, why have you not signed up for the Rise Up experience? Because correct me if I'm wrong, I could be wrong, but we're going to have the Being Becoming Goddess deck there, right?
Yeah, I want to get the decks at the conference. Yes.
Awesome. So I need to be there. The decks can't be there without Michelle.
Oh my God.
What was I thinking? So again, that has to do with listening to the higher power, because my logic mind is saying, how are you going to fit that in with all of the other things? Because I'm a grandmother. All the other things being the grandmother, the wife, taking care of my clients, because I also still do massage. You can see my massage table right there in the back. And so I think, well, this is going to be a vacation time. This is going to be me time, right? And me serving other people is part of my mission and why I was put on this planet Earth. So what I want to really talk about next is how you kind of both of you created an empowerment method. I feel it's like the Rise Up this is the next level of empowerment in a very down to earth, let's get our uniform dirty. Let's create an experience that's down to earth, that's real, but supportive. It doesn't exist. There's so many shiny out there. There's so many like, look at me, dance, dance, dance. Not that I'm sure we're not going to have a dance party, but it's not going to be a look at me dance party. It's going to be really more like, let's feel our emotions party, right? Like feel the anger and then drop it out, right? Get on the floor now, roll around. I'm like having all of this visual like experience, just thinking about rise up, what it is. So tell us, instead of me like saying what it is, tell us, Ashley, what this rise up experience is going to be and what it's not.
Okay. So you're right. It's not like so I think a lot of times when people think of, especially women, when women think of like women empowerment conference, they think of like even men, like this man hating society, like kind of cult like looking thing,
Go
right?
women, go
like
women.
that's what they think, that's what comes to their mind. And it's not that. It's not like we're just gonna ignore all of our
Ignore we're just about that. We were interrupted. No. So it's not a cult thing. It's not a man like, like chanting and then women like chanting like I'm enough. I'm enough. Like
not, because I think, that's what scares a lot of people from going to events, is they think like I'm not worthy enough, or I'm not there yet, or I'm not like at the place where I feel even comfortable being around that many people. And what Rise Up is a place for anybody to go and feel safe. It's where it's where the emotional release gets to happen. It's where years of trapped trauma that we suppress inside of our organs, inside of our bodies, inside of our minds gets to be released. And we get to learn all of those things through different healing modalities. And that's why we have invited some really incredible speakers that are experts in energy healing. And for those of you that don't know, I know that there's people that get kind of with energy healing, especially I would say in like the faith-based communities. But when we get to learn and ask questions, and we feel safe to ask those questions, like, tell me about energy healing, tell me how this can tie into, my spirituality or my faith, because a lot of the women that are there do faith-based energy healing and talk a lot about, how that ties into scripture to help other women feel comfortable in their choice in choosing different things that might resonate with them or not. We have different techniques like learning about EFT tapping or emotional coding. Where are these different emotions stored in my body, and how does this play into like some of the physical illnesses that I might be experiencing? It's a lot about giving yourself permission to release these. It's not always, you don't wake up every day and you're like, I love my life, everything is perfect, everything is great, dandy, beautiful. Some days suck, and that's okay, and like it's giving these women permission to, what? It's okay to be pissed off. It's okay to be angry. We need to stop suppressing these emotions, because then guess who feels it? Not only yourself, like your mental health suffers from it, your physical health suffers from it, but also your kids and like the people around you. So we're creating it's almost like a healthy ripple effect of teaching you how to work through your emotions in a healthy way that makes sense to you in your life. And so day one is all about, identifying trauma, identifying what trauma means to us, learning about ego, learning about how to build a positive relationship with our ego, because a lot of people think ego is bad and we need to kill our ego, but that's not necessarily true. It's learning those different healing modalities and coming really full circle in our healing, embracing who we are, loving who we are, filling all these pillars of personal development and learning how to take those tools back to your home and implement it into your daily life. And then we have our second day, which is all about the becoming, right? It's becoming your highest self. It's learning about what am I passionate about? And you don't have to know right now. And
Of course
the
not,
thing, the thing with passion and purpose is that it's always going to change as you change. Like, you've got to give yourself permission to evolve, right? At one point in time, maybe you wanted to be a graphic designer and you're really good at it and you're so good at it. But then 10 years down the road, all of a sudden you want to start a massage therapy clinic because that's calling you. You want to heal people through your touch. Give yourself permission to evolve. And it's giving you those tools to, like, if I'm having an identity crisis, I don't know who I am. I feel like I'm just a mom. I feel like I'm just a student. How can I ask myself these deeper questions to understand what really makes me feel like Michelle or Ashley or Loryn, right? And how can I do this in a way that feels good in my life, right? So it's a full circle healing modality model / here you're going to feel safe. We're also doing something at this conference that doesn't exist anywhere else, and we're creating de-escalation rooms. So this is something because I have some sensory processing things that I'm working through, and I have a lot of anxiety around social situations. A lot of women haven't been around people that will be at this conference since 2019. They're afraid of the anxiousness. There's individuals coming that might be that might have sensory processing disorders, and we want to create a space, these spaces where they can go and de-escalate and actually get tools where they feel safe instead of running to the bathroom underneath all these fluorescent lights. You're crying behind a stall because you're having a panic attack, right? Like, we wanted to create, at any point in time in this conference, nobody's going to call you out for walking away.
Sit back down. That's not going to happen.
Nobody's going to say, hey, I see you falling asleep over there. Stand up and move your body. Like, nobody, that's not going to happen. Whatever you need to do and whatever helps you decompress, more than welcome. And there's going to be places for you to do that. Yeah. So that, and yeah, I mean, all the incredible vendors that'll be there, healers that will be there. We will have a dance party, but it is more so get your emotions out type dance party.
It's a judgment-free, be who you are, dance crazy if you want to, dance party. It's just going to be like a let loose, make some friends. No one gives a shit what you look like. Because I cannot dance, but I'm gonna let it rip. I'm gonna let it rip. Really funny video.
I love it. So basically what you are creating is an environment where you get to be that goddess that is messy and beautiful. So it doesn't exist. It actually does not exist. Something like that, I know, because I've been on this planet Earth a little longer than you guys. I've been to a lot of like retreats and events, and people do not create a space for messy and beautiful because they're afraid to. And you have worked your practice of patience and understanding of your messy, beautiful life, both of you. And so I just love that you are creating this wonderful environment so we get to have this space of messy and beautiful and be curious, even though maybe you're not really into EFT, but you could stay curious and look into it because we don't know everything, right? As human beings, we know a lot, but we're also very, very cognitively overstimulated. And this sounds like, to me, you're going to step out of that overstimulation and into a comfort zone. And if you're feeling uncomfortable, I love this idea. I saw it on Facebook, you talking about it. and asking people about what you would want. And, even though you have some ideas already and how they would like to have the space be, you're creating this beautiful portal, right? For messy, beautiful. Now you're having anxiety kind of overstimulation, which is so true. And people don't even talk about this part about coming out of the pandemic, post-traumatic. We are all suffering from PTSD. This is the reality. But that doesn't mean we have to go down into that dark alone. We can probably feel into it a little bit, and you're creating an environment to tap into that feeling of like, I'm scared, but I'm willing to be open. And thank God, Ashley and Loryn have created this portal for me, because I can go into this de-escalation place and actually tap into whatever it is I'm feeling without judgment. This is huge. This is going to be a huge game changer. I'm so excited to be a part of this. So for the audience, I would love for you, starting with Loryn, what you want the audience to know. What's the most important thing for them to know about you and how you're going to be at the conference? What is it that you are going to be creating and collectively serving up your audience for you? Like, where are you going to be holding your goddess energy for them?
Yeah. So I'm going to be talking all around power of now, being in the now, and then also future pacing and creating the future that we dream of. It is so easy to just like dream about a future and to, oh, I want that. Oh, I wish I could have that. Oh, that would be amazing. But we can't have that without right now. The future does not exist without the present moment. And so I'm going to be talking a lot about what can we do right now in this moment to help better prepare us or to help us reach that dream, that future life that we so desperately desire. So that's going to be a lot about what I talk about. I'm probably going to be talking about, you can't have the future without the past too. And everything that happened in our past happened for us in order for us to learn to better help project us into the future that we want. So I'm going to be sharing like a personal story of myself that really shifted my mindset. I am a recovering people pleaser, but like also not really, because I'm still kind of a people pleaser, but like in a different way. Like, yep. It's like I'm doing it for me. I'm not doing it for other people now. So it's different. But I used to be the people pleaser where I was changing how I looked and changing how I acted and changing my laugh and all of the things to fit into a certain stigma. And I feel like so many people can resonate with that. But then something happened for me where all of that shifted in like a matter of seconds. And it was from that moment that I decided, oh, I'm literally living my life to fit somebody else's idea of perfect. I'm living my life to fit somebody else's norm, and that's not okay. So then what can we do in this moment right now to shift that to better be the person that we want to be, to rise into our highest self?
Mm-hmm. Beautiful, beautiful. It's owning who you are in a multi-layer way.
Yes.
It's not like I just, worked at, doing tapping EFT because I know EFT. It's like you actually have practiced the practice of the unbecoming. And this is another thing, this is another layer that I feel like both of you really talk about, is like how you've been unbecoming those programmable kind of, programming of like, this is the way I'm supposed to be at age 30 with a child. I'm going through a divorce. I'm supposed to, be showing that I'm baking and cooking, whatever, online 24 hours. Like that's the way, you're supposed to be as a woman. Like all of this deprogramming that, has to happen in order for this shift to really change. That, women really need this. Women need this more now than ever because of all of the unbecoming, the unfolding of the deep, all the programming and discrimination and all of that. It has to happen. We have to have portals like this. And, I'm hoping that you're going to have more than just one, event, like they're going to be seasonal, because, one shot deal of this amazing experience, is going to be great. But then what happens when everyone goes home, right? How are they going to take all this juicy and feel supported? And I know that Ashley kind of talked about that. So if you could talk about that component, Ashley, of like when people are going home after this event.
Mm-hmm. That's another thing that we really considered too when putting together this event is we have a lot of individuals working really hard behind the scenes that have helped us put this together. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that we really kind of push out there more than anything is the accountability that follows the event. Is right now we have our assistant, I would call her, working on our workbook, and she is putting together all of the speakers' information and all the sponsor stuff. And I said, okay, cool. We have the conference workbook, but we need something that people can take home, and we need that accountability to follow. So we are actually doing a 6-month, it's either going to be a 90-day or a 6-month touch-in, where we are inviting people into a Zoom call. They can either sign up with a specific speaker that they resonated with at the event, or they can sign up with Loryn and I. Mm-hmm. They're going to be in our Rise Up Coaching Collective Facebook group for the rest of their life. So we can do some accountability work in there. But the biggest thing is we wanted that post accountability and that post-conference check-in. Yeah. Because it is so easy to go to a conference and be like, yes, I'm going to be so great. And you always hear these flippin' speakers. It doesn't matter how many conferences I go to, everyone always everyone. Somebody says it and it pisses me off. And they're like, 98% of you are going to go home and not implement a damn thing we talked about at this conference. And only 2% of you are actually going to ever be successful.
That's literally ingraining in them that they're going to fail.
Yeah. So I'm like, well, no wonder every single person's going to go home and be like, well, F that. I don't even want to do any of this because my chances of being successful are 2% and I'm not that 2%. Right. And we want to instill the belief that every woman that walks into that room and out of that room has the ability and capability to create the changes they want to see in their life when they want to, mm-hmm. Right? It's not, you're going to fail because you're leaving this conference and not implementing change. So we have an accountability program set up for post-conference, and we will have events that they will be invited to and they will be coming back to because we will evolve and grow and change with them. Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
Love it. So that's what makes the Rise Up experience completely different. Yes. Like I said, it's going to be a game changer in events and retreats. And what's going to happen is other people are going to come and then they're going to create their own mini versions of this experience because that's how powerful and nurturing it was for them. And so you are going to grow your message and do it in a way that's nourishing the goddess, that's elevating the goddess. So I'm so proud of you both and want to say thank you so much for being here on the podcast of the goddess, the rise of the goddess, Rise Up. I mean, I'm evolving myself. I'm thinking about changing the name, but then people say, no, I love it. I love Rise of the Goddess. Keep Rise of the Goddess. I was thinking, I'm thinking about changing it to the anxious goddess. And they're like, well, why would you change it to the anxious goddess? I was like, because I suffer with a lot of anxiety as a young woman and then growing into this older woman. We are these human beings that are always evolving, and we can evolve whenever it is that we need to evolve, right? Being patient with ourselves. So what is the last thing that you would like to share with the audience before we end the show?
Do you want to go first or me go first? You go. Okay, we'll both share something. I think the last thing that I want to share is why not you? There are so many times that I have been told this and Ashley's been told this, well, what makes you different? Why do you think that you could do that when there's already so-and-so and so-and-so and so-and-so? Why not you? Because you have a message that's different than anybody else's. Your story is different than anybody else's. Somebody could resonate with something that I have to say and not Ashley, or vice versa. And that's beautiful. You could do the same thing that I could and do it like better, and people would follow you because that's you and they resonate with you more. So I think my advice is, why not you? If you want to do something, go for it.
Love it. Love it. And there's no competition in your energy, right? You're all about, there is no competition because you're you and I'm me. And anybody can share their story if they're willing to be brave and share their story. And if they're not willing and they're not brave, come to the event and we'll help you cultivate that bravery. Correct?
That's
Me if I'm wrong. So, Ashley, what is your last words to the audience?
I would have to agree with Loryn. I feel like we really do believe that there is no competition and that you are your own person. And our mission really with these conferences is to get you to open up your mind and expand these and ripple them out into your own communities and into your own life. It doesn't mean like you put together a conference, but we want to spark that inspiration in others, because we've both been at conferences and we both said to each other, that's going to be us up on stage one day.
Yep.
And like, we want other people to feel that too. So we live in a very competitive based society, and we are crushing that belief system, and we are making room for everybody, not even at the table, but like in our energy field, really.
And I think comparison with competitiveness, there's a lot of comparison. But don't compare. I don't know who said this. This is not mine, but don't compare your chapter 1 to somebody else's chapter 30. We're all on different journeys. We're all on different paths. Don't compare yourself to somebody else, because we're all just on different journeys, different times in our life, and it's all beautiful.
I love it. I love that. Thank you so much, you two, coming on the Rise of the Goddess Collective. I think the audience is going to love your beautiful, honest share of who you are being and becoming. And I am so excited about you actualizing this experience for all of those goddesses out there. Remember, your activation is my activation.
Thank you so much, Michelle, for having us, and get your ticket.
Go get your ticket.
I'll get my ticket.
Thank you so much for having us. We're really grateful.
I had a sneeze, but not really. You good?
Yeah. What's happening?
Oops.
Oh.
What happened?
Just stay there. Don't move, but I'll be back.
Okay.